What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the spinoff. I am your host, Brian Knutson. Today, everybody, as you can see by the new marquee here, my guest today is none other than number 14, former cornerback, former Blackshirt, Barron Miles. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Glad to be here. It's an honor. Anything with Husker football, you try to be a part of. So it's a pleasure for myself.
Man, I'll tell you what, I grew up watching you, just like I talked with Abdul Muhammad. Man, watching you on special teams, watching you on defense, it was, you guys were inspirations to me because I'm only 5'6". So
Right.
playing football, I was a quarterback. So I always looked at you guys as, man, if they can do it, I can do it.
I I feel you on that. I think the motivation we was always fighting, especially as smaller guys, and especially for myself, I was always being challenged no matter what. Always looked at, get out of here, little guy, and I wanted to prove a point. So that was my motto going in every single time. I was going to prove a point. At some point, you're going to respect my what I do. You're going to respect my athleticism, and you're going to have to give me my just due. So they paid for it. It's all right.
And looking up what you did in high school, I was actually really surprised to see this. You were an option quarterback in high school.
I was an option quarterback. I was an option quarterback, but at the same time, I wanted everybody to know I could throw, and all I wanted to do was throw the deep ball. I couldn't throw an out route to save my life, maybe until my senior year. I was like, I don't have to throw an out route. I'm throwing deep. Don't worry about it. I could throw a good deep ball. I could put it there for the receiver can catch it. And my best friend was one of the receivers, so I always found him. But my coach said, you're going to have to be able to throw an out route. So I had to practice on throwing an out route. It was all right.
So in high school, then did it just seem like athletics came naturally, especially the defensive side of the ball? We all know what you've accomplished there, but even on the offensive side of the ball, did it seem like that athleticism was just natural, or was that something you really had to work on to get to that point?
No, it was I could do it. It was something that sports was in me. No matter what the gym teacher had us do, I could do it. And I did it fast. And I worked on it if I didn't know how to do it. And I kept to myself. It was like something that ate at me if I didn't know how to do it or I couldn't do it better than everybody else. And when they said, well, Barron's up, well, we know he could do it. And if I didn't do it, well, they're like, hey, Barron didn't do it. So it was up to me to change that mindset of if I couldn't do it at that point, at some point I'm gonna be able to do it and do it very well. And so that stuck with me. But I was always an offensive guy. I was never a defensive guy.
Wow.
I always played quarterback. I was always a receiver. I wanted to be Marcus Allen
Oh,
or Kevin Winslow catching the ball over the top. So to me, when I played pickup football outside my house, shoot, I was an offensive guy. I was that guy, and I just had a knack. When I did get on the defensive side, they put me at safety and say, "Go get the ball." So no matter what, it didn't matter. It was just they could put me deep by myself, and if anything went in the air, I was getting yelled at if I didn't get it. So I was the offensive guy first until I got to Lincoln, Nebraska. That's when I played corner, and I just adopted the same philosophy: go get the ball. That's all I knew was go get the ball.
and see, I saw a highlight of yours from high school. It was from the New Jersey All-Star game. You had a 102-yard kickoff return. Now, was
Yeah.
that just kind of a precursor to what we were going to expect out of you on special teams? Not just defense, but special teams.
No, I think that return was a result of me not playing offense. That game, I was supposed to be playing quarterback in that All-Star game, and they didn't let me play quarterback. They put me on defense, and I was upset. I was like, I want the ball. I'm like, I want the ball. There's no way I should not have the ball in my hands. And then the coach was like, all right, Barron, we're gonna throw you in that receiver, trying to make me happy. And it's like, we got some plays for you to run that receiver if it goes bad and we need some production or whatever. And I said, I'm returning kicks. I could return kicks. And so they put me back to return kicks. And Um, it just so happened Ray Lucas and Mike Groh were the two quarterbacks.
Ooh.
So one went to Rutgers, one went to Virginia Tech, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Groh dad was the Giants in the Giants office somewhere. I forgot now, but I know at one point, yeah, either the VP or something, and he had history with football. And Ray Lucas was with Bill Parcells in New England Patriots. I
Man.
mean, what do you, if you
Man.
find some people that tell you the pedigree that they had at quarterback and why, and especially they was 6'2", 6'3", and I
Oh,
and I was 5'9". They was like, "There's no way we're gonna put this 5'9" guy at quarterback, and we got these two 6-footers behind him going to universities playing D1 schools playing football, so playing quarterback. So, but that was the result of me playing special teams. I was like, I'm returning this, and I told Ray Lucas because he was my roommate at that All-Star game. I said, I'm returning the kick as soon as they kick it to me. I said, I'm taking it to the house. And that's first thing. Once I ran it back, he came to me. That's the first thing he said. He said, I can't believe you called that. And I was like, they should let me play quarterback.
so you pulled a Babe Ruth. You called your shot, and you nailed it.
Exactly. I mean, it was fun. I had that much confidence in myself and my ability that I wouldn't necessarily do it publicly, but behind closed doors with some guys I know, I'm going to tell them what I'm about to do. And I'm more humble that way out in public. But no, I can't say that either. Sometimes I can go off the cuff. I can't say that. Sometimes if I'm in my mood, yeah, you're gonna get all of me. You're gonna get it all. So I can't say that.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with that because we all know that '94 team that you guys had that cocky swagger. I mean, you guys never called it cocky. It was a confident swagger, is what it was.
It
So I
was.
always enjoyed hearing those, and I understand what you mean. Also, when coaches in high school are giving you flack about how tall you were and playing quarterback, I did the same thing, and the best compliment I got was from one of my wide receivers. He said the greatest joy he got was running a fly route and just seeing a football pop from behind the line out of nowhere. They don't see where it comes from, but they know it's going to get there. So
Exactly.
I know how you feel there. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's been, the funny part is now that my son is there, and I gotta prove to him every single time, Dad, you wasn't nothing. Dad, you think, so we go back and forth, and I just started looking up on YouTube. I'm like, I pulled up some of the games, I'm looking at them, and I was like, I was tiny. I'm myself, I'm going, I didn't think I was that small. To me, I'm like, man, I'm big. I'm all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hang in there with, I'm 6 feet, 6'2", whatever. I just knew I was big, and I wasn't 155 pounds or whatever, soaking wet. But I was tiny. I was like, man, I'm small. I said, but I was moving. That's the first thing I said. I said, I was moving. You couldn't tell me I wasn't moving. I said, I was moving. But I look back at that, and now I can look at it and go, all right, I can see why people might, the eye test. I didn't really pass the eye test, so I get it. I understand. So it's all right.
Yeah, the eye test, I've never understood that because you can never measure a man's heart. So
No, you cannot.
it's one measurement you're never going to get for any NFL combine, any coach on a recruitment trip, that you're never going to get that measurement. So,
You
all right.
you're not. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So during your recruitment process, and toward the end of this, we'll get into it again as well with your son being at
Okay.
Nebraska now. But during your recruitment process, who or what was the closer to get the commitment to Nebraska?
Honestly, when I say this, people look at me like, really? But I spent the whole day in the education department. They
Really?
I spent the whole day, and I from the morning to the afternoon, and when I was done, they took me through the process of what I would go through and what help I would have, what help I won't have, if I need certain things, what I had to go through, who I needed to talk to. And I just went down the line and I felt so comfortable. I'm like, I know I'm going to need help in school because, to be honest, I didn't love school. School wasn't, I was like, it was a means to an end. It was a means for me to play
Yeah.
football, to continue to play football.
Yep.
And I didn't take it as serious as some other kids may have. But in the same token, I learned when I was maybe after first semester of my freshman year at UNL, I realized I was dyslexic.
Oh wow.
And I was like, well, that probably caused half of the problems. And I didn't know it. And I was just coping with it. And I found my different ways to do different stuff. And I figured out how to memorize things. And if I memorized it a certain way and I thought it was that way, that's the way I'm going to write it down and give it to you. Whether it was right or wrong, that was the way I was going to give it to you. It didn't matter. And I was confident in it that, okay, I saw what I saw and I went with it. And that was part of my recruiting trip. It was like most of the schools I went to, they said, yeah, this is our education department and you have study hall on these days. And they kind of like, they went through it, but they was assuming that I was into the sports, and which I was, but I knew how I was going to get through college. I knew in order for me to get through college, I was going to have to do the schoolwork. And I had to figure out how was I going to do the schoolwork in order for me to play. That was the biggest hurdle. And when Nebraska went through that, and I was like, regardless of their historic school, and they was in the top 5 or top 10 in the nation, I wasn't worried about that. That didn't even bother me. It was just the fact that I had to get through school. And that was my biggest hurdle. And at the same time, it was also my biggest hurdle of getting into Nebraska because
Yeah.
of the SAT. So I was like, that was my main focus regardless. If I'd have paid more attention earlier, maybe. But again, I was having so much trouble just to keep up and to do certain things in school. I was like, I'm drained. I can't win with this. I'm beating myself up. And so I just did the things that was motivating and kept my spirits high, which was sports. And I made sure I talked to all my teachers in high school. I said, I'm not getting this. I said, I don't know how I'm going to get it. I said, you have to help me. And luckily I was a good kid and I wasn't a snot-nosed kid running around messing with people. I talked to everybody. I talked to all the students. I didn't have a sports group. I didn't have a high fashion group. I wasn't involved in any of that. I talked to everybody in the school. Didn't matter. And I just knew at that particular time I needed to talk to my teachers because I wasn't gonna make it. There was no way. I had geometry
Ooh.
and I had the hardest teacher in our school.
Oh
Like
no.
I mean, Miss Caradad, I know it clearly. Miss Caradad, they said, that's all they kept saying. My brothers before me, because they all older than me, they said, don't get Miss Caradad. Whatever
Oh.
you do, don't get Miss Caradad. And I looked at my schedule and my classes and Miss Caradad. And I said, oh man, and all the kids that had AP, they had their teacher. They didn't have Miss Caradad though. And I said, y'all lucky y'all don't have Miss Caradad. Never knew the lady. I saw her every now and then, but I got to know her. First day, I went in, I said, I'm gonna have trouble in your class. I'm gonna need every help possible. She said, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. After the first quiz, she said, yeah, you're gonna have to come in and you're gonna have to work on it. And I just told her, I was like, she had a thing where she gave all A students, you didn't have to take her final. No one passed her final.
Oh God.
No one ever passed her final.
No.
And so that was her way of saying, if you get straight A's, you're exempt from the final. And I'm like, there's no way I'm getting exempt from the final. I need to, I said, I'm not passing these tests. What can I do to make sure I pass? And she said, okay, you're a senior. every day to the end till you graduate, you have to come to early morning detention because she did early morning detention. She said, and it starts at 7 o'clock every morning. You make sure you're there. Don't miss. You have to be there, and we'll go over work. We did all the tests. We did all the work, and I had no pride. I said, I'm there, and that's what I had to do. So every morning at 7 o'clock, I was sitting there, and we do when I get to class, regular class, and then I know I'm off topic of what we was talking about, but this drew me. This is
No.
why this is why the education department part in
Yeah,
Nebraska.
I want to know all of this anyway. So yeah, go right ahead.
But I was taking a test, and it just so happened we was in class taking a test, and Frank Soldier was downstairs and he wanted to see me.
Uh-oh.
And I'm looking at her. I'm going, I'm not gonna pass. I'm like mouthing it to her, like so nobody else can hear it. I'm like, I'm not passing this test. Like, just let me go. And she looked at me. She was like, and she pointed out the door, and I was just like, she said, "You better be there tomorrow morning and see me." And so that's how it went the whole year. I just had to make sure I talked to my teachers, and they worked with me. It wasn't like I was trying to get over or I didn't do any work. School was hard. It was just for some reason hard. After my freshman year in Lincoln, going into the second semester, that's when Dennis and all those guys said, "Hey, we need to get him tested," because I knew that I had to talk to my professors. I forgot my math professor, my first year. I had him, and I didn't pass the exam. Like, I didn't pass the exam. It was like fun. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna give you a close friend of mine. You get a tutor. She'll tutor you." And it was the dean of math. I don't even know her name. And so I would study with her, but they tricked me because she would give me the test while we was practicing studying. And
Oh wow.
She gave me the test, and I would go through it, boom, 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 and I would pass. I would it wasn't like like I crushed it or anything, but I passed it.
That's all that matters.
And then he came back and gave me the same test,
Oh wow.
and I failed it.
Oh wow.
And that's how they figured out something was wrong.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I was cheating and taking a test
Mm-hmm.
by myself. She wasn't gonna cheat for me. She was like, so I was like, they was good friends. And then he looked out for me that way. And he said, "Yeah, you might," he said, "show up for class, don't miss." And that 91, that's when we had the big snowstorm. And the most ever, I guess this year for you guys is the most ever.
Oh.
But it was a bad snowstorm, and it was a 7 o'clock math class, 7:30 math class. And he said, "Don't miss, show up, hand in your work, and we'll work." And so every day it'd be me and two other people sitting in the class, and I sit there, but that's what you have to do. It wasn't like I was trying to get over, but that's when he said something to Dennis and them, said, "You might want to get him tested for learning disability."
So then finding out that you have dyslexia, did that ever affect you in say going over game film or going over game notes or even the structure of plays in a playbook? Did that ever mess with you that way then?
Sometimes, but the good and bad part to that was I went without being diagnosed for so long that I learned my coping mechanisms to fix whatever I needed to fix. Like, I figured out how to get by. I figured out what I needed to know to be successful, whether it was the way the coach said it or the way somebody else said it, the way the professor said it. I found a way. This is how I'm supposed to do it. Might not be the right way, but I knew I can get it done this way. And when playing football, that's how I see it. It doesn't matter. As you telling me a play, I'm already going through the offense. I'm going, they run this play, they run that play. Okay, now, coach, we got a problem right here. I already got the problem figured out because I'm like, I can't do both. So I'm figuring this stuff out already, and I had the confidence that I'm like, I believe what I'm looking at. I know, no, this is a problem. So it actually enhanced me. I guess it was like I was being blind, and my ears, my hearing was enhanced. So
Wow.
it's almost like the same thing in that aspect where different things were enhanced, and visually and mentally I can go through a game without even seeing a person. I can just go through formations, I can go through backfield sets, and I just plug it in and I get the defensive call, cover 4, cover 2. Like I tell most DBs now, I said, you could plug me in any defense. I don't need to know your call. You just tell me if I'm in a cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. I could play it. I don't know. I don't have to know anything else. I could play any of those. I don't know why y'all struggling trying to figure this out. It's a cover, it's man, it's cover 2, it's a cover 3, it's cover 4. I don't know what else you need to know. All right, I know my responsibilities. Now I got to figure out the rest. I mean, so stuff like that, it enhanced, and I don't take it for granted. I just, you know, I trust what I'm doing, and I know it, and I feel confident in it.
It
But that's
seems to
why,
me, it seems to me like over the years, like you said, you had worked on it so much in your head because you weren't sure what it was. So it sounds like really you pretty much rewired your brain to interpret everything into your own words, basically, is what it sounds like.
yeah, and that's what most people say when they don't know what I'm doing. They go, "Yeah, you making something up, aren't you?" I was like, "No, I'm not making anything up. I can explain it to you. Like I can explain. This is what I'm seeing. He does this, he does that. All right, I should be here. I don't need to be anywhere else. This is the problem. I need to be here." And then they'll sit there and go, I don't know. Let me think about that. Then they come back the next day and be like, "It makes sense." Okay, all right.
They're saying X plus Y equals something. You're saying X plus Q equals the same thing.
Right. And I always hated X because I never knew what X was. I
Neither
was
do
like,
I.
I was like, how do you know what X is? I always that drove me crazy. But it was fun. I mean, I knew my strengths. I knew what I could do, and I didn't let nobody tell me anything different.
All right. So you also spent 12 years in the CFL. Explain to me what that experience was like because uh, you are fondly talked about with the CFL. And we'll get to what you're doing with them nowadays really soon.
Right.
But what was that experience like playing 12 years for the Canadian Football League?
It was a great experience. It was I wouldn't change it for the world. I think it took me back to playing college with the traditions, with the camaraderie, with the rivalries, and the love hate and the respect you gain for other athletes, great athletes that play against you or play with you. And that's what it reminded me of. I told the guys that all the time. It's like this is it's college football, but you're getting paid for it. I mean, it reminds me of that because you may play a team 3, 4, 5 times, and you're like, man, you get to know them. You get to know them, just like I played Kevin Lockett from K State. I actually got to know him. Like we played and we competed against each other. I'm like, you got to know him. It didn't even it dawn on me at that point, but how cool and how unusual that might be. You show respect for somebody that's pretty talented. You like, hey, all right, it's good to know. Whenever if I go to K State and I see him, it was like, hey, Barron, let's go. Hey, come on in. It's like a welcoming. So stuff like that in the CFL. That's what it came down to. Is like a brotherhood. The team that bonded the fastest and had genuine respect and love for one another. You don't have to like them every single time because they're grown men. They're gonna do silly things at times, but you have the respect when you get on the football field, step between the lines. You're gaining. It's work time, and they know that, and that's what all you want is the respect, and they know when B Miles came to work, he was like, I don't want to go against B Miles. He gonna work too hard, and you knew that. You're like, I only work one way. That's the way I'm gonna work. And if you don't want to work that way, all right, don't come with me. Don't don't work with me. You want to take the easy way. But you get to learn the players, and the men that I got to play with, play against, phenomenal athletes, and just to see their work ethic, and for me to be a part of it and to be considered one of the upper echelon still. I mean, that's all I ever dreamed of. Like for when I play in the CFL, I said I want everyone to talk about Barron Miles when I leave, and hopefully that's still the case.
And see, you always hear people say when you see a very dominant team in college, like 95 Huskers, as recent as LSU's championship team,
Yeah,
they always say, could that team beat the worst team in the NFL? Now, I don't want to say that about Canadian football because they're professionals.
correct.
Could the championship team from the CFL, in your opinion, take on not the worst team in the NFL, but a playoff contender in the NFL?
It depends on what rules you're playing. You're playing the CFL rules, they don't have a chance. They may think they have a chance, but they don't have a chance because one, they're too big. Most of their interior guys are way too big because we're gonna speed the game up. We're gonna speed it up, and you got to move. It's two downs, and you're punting on the third down. So a quick turnaround is quick, and it's a 20-second clock. So that 20 seconds goes a lot faster than you think. As soon as that plays over with it, and then if I'm an offensive guy at that point, I put my offensive hat on, and I'm playing them, and I know they're not accustomed to it. I'm there. I'm gonna tell the ref, hey, we're going right now. I'll go the whole way, and the ref will blow the whistle in just as fast. As soon as the play over with, ref's gonna blow the whistle in, and they're not gonna catch their breath. So all those 300-pound D linemen that's gonna bull rush, okay, send them on in. We already throwing the ball outside and dealing with the motions and the waggles and all that stuff. It'll be tough. It'll be tough for those still great athletes, but the game is different. It's played different. It's not timing routes. It's more choice routes. The game moves. It moves from start to finish. It constantly moves. So the timing routes you may do into the boundary, but defensively, we know that too. So I'm gonna play my defense accordingly. So stuff like that, they may not. We'll have the upper hand. Put it that way. If we're playing Canadian rules and playing a team, it'll be tough for them to match up in that aspect of it.
Now, with NFL rules, though, do you think that a Canadian team could adjust quicker to that than an NFL team could adjust to Canadian rules?
They will adjust quicker, but size wise, it won't compare.
Okay.
It won't compare size wise just because strong safeties are linebackers. Our linebackers are D linemen.
Wow.
Because you're playing for speed. You're playing for, so you may get a 6'4", 270, 260 nose guard.
Ooh,
Right.
that's not good.
So right. So you playing American rule. That's the biggest difference. But our interior guys need to be able to run and be able to change and to go quick snap. You may get a 280, 290 guy, but he's going to interchange more often than anybody else. So
Yeah.
you play the count that way. And you only get a 43-man roster. That's not that many people.
Wow.
46 active in case somebody get hurt, but those guys get thrown away when game time starts. So you got to be GM, head coach, got to be on their toes when it comes down to the roster and how you put it together.
Man, see, I'm glad you told me that because that was something I always wanted to know. Because, like I said, CFL, that's professional football in my eyes, no matter how you look at it. And man, is it fun to watch! It is some of the funnest action on a football field you'll ever see.
It is. I implore a lot of people to actually get to watch it, especially the game's never over. That's the best part.
Yep.
You could be down 30 points, literally 30 points. I had a young rookie when I went to BC in 05. I went to, and then I was telling, DBs, I'm a DB guy, so I'm looking out for my young DBs that's coming in. I'm trying to teach them the game. I said, the game's never over. They say, man, they're getting blown out. It's like 30-something to 10. They're not going to win. I said, I've seen it. They come back. And just so happened, that was the day they came back. The down team came back and they said, I can't believe this. I said, I told you, it's never over. And those DBs that was laughing in the beginning, look at them now. I said, they getting the ball thrown over them. They panicking and everything. I said, you can't panic, especially as a DB in the CFL. You can have some good days and you can have some very, very bad days because it's a passing league. It's a passing league.
And with all your time spent in the CFL, I noticed this little snippet of a fact that I thought was amazing. August of 2009, you became CFL's career leader for blocked kicks at 13. And to Nebraska fans, it's obviously not going to be any surprise whatsoever. It's what you do. So,
Yes.
how is it to have an honor like that in the CFL, especially for a league that really does, like you said, go for speed? And so, speed is going to play into that factor. So,
Yes.
what does it feel like to have, I guess, an accolade like that with the CFL?
It's a great honor. I mean, that in itself is great, but the backstory, the behind the scenes story to that is so awesome because when I got into the league, it was this 6'3", 6'2" defensive back in Hamilton. His name was Gerald Vaughn, and he blocked kicks. He was the CFL leader at that time,
Was.
and keyword was. And I told him, as we got, I got to playing, and they was like, Rook, you doing good, Rook, just keep going. They pat me on the back because I'm a rookie. I'm like, all right, whatever. And they had a pretty good team, and he blocking kicks, and I'm going, man, he blocking kicks. I said, all right. So then I got to start blocking kicks, and I'm like, I'm going to get the kicks. And then as I start getting 3, 4, and he's up to 7, 8, I said, he's older than me. I told him probably 5 years into my fifth season, I said, I'm catching you, right? And I'm going to pass you. And he's like, there's no way. There's no way. And I said, I got you. And after that, I think he was trying to get more years and more years. And each year I kept blocking more kicks and more kicks. And then he was like, man, then all of a sudden he came with one. He said, man, you got to stop blocking kicks. I said, I'm going to catch you this year. It's over with. And so I caught him. Then he was like, man. And then he retired. I said, it's over. I said, I got it. And then after that, that's when I went on and took the lead. I think he ended up with 10. And then I got to 13. And I said that was it. But those last couple was so hard because everyone knew I was trying to get the record. Everyone knew I was trying to block the kick. They say, he's right here. He's not going. I get doubled. And so I said, all right, listen. I know Coach said we got our rules, but if you hear them two call me out, no one's blocking you. Just go. I can't do that. Coach gonna get on me. And I'm like, oh, you kidding me? I'm like, so I would go to the sideline. I'm like, Coach, go to the special team coach. All right, they're calling me out. I'll take them. Don't worry about it. I'll grab both of them, hold them up. Can he go? Is it okay for him to go? And he's like, yeah. As long as they call you out, you can go. And Barron, you just cover him. I said, okay. I said, you hear the coach said that, right? They call me out. He still doesn't go. But that's the difference. That's why I guess I was me and he was just a guy. So.
And see, it's funny. The one that you ended up getting your 13th on was an extra point. I mean, and in American football, for one, extra points you almost never see blocked. So the fact that you even did that on an extra point, I think that's just the icing on top. It's the perfect exclamation point for it.
It was, and the hindsight to that was we won by 1 point.
Oh man, that makes it so much better. You got icing, now you got a cherry on top, but why don't we put some sprinkles on it too? I think it's deserving.
It is. I like it a lot. Everybody's like, why would you do that? I said, no consequence. If I jumped off sides, what's the worst thing that was gonna happen? It's the extra point. There was
Yeah.
really no consequence to me. I was like, I'm gone. So I got the time and it was over. That's when I jumped over the center too. I jumped over the center on that one.
See, that don't surprise me one bit. I mean, when you played here, it was obvious, especially the Orange Bowl against Miami.
Yeah.
At your height, going against the type of receivers they had. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here. Maybe it was another player, but I want to say that the commentator said it was your birthday that night.
Yep. January 1st.
Man, what a birthday present you had.
It is. It was due because the 3 previous birthdays we lost. So
Yes.
I needed a victory at one of them. So it worked out in my favor, especially winning the title game too. So it
I
was
was going to
great.
say how sweet that had to have felt. Not just giving Coach Osborne his and starting, the one out of the three that he got. Man,
Right.
that had to feel so good.
That was special. That was a special night, especially my senior year. You can't ask for anything more. That was great.
All right, and now we'll get to talk about what you're doing now. You are the defensive coordinator and DB's coach for the Montreal Alouettes. How did
That is
you obviously, your tenure with the CFL that helps, but
yes.
who approached you for this and what was the deciding factor like, all right, this is what I want to do.
I believe it or not, I knew I wanted to coach in junior high. Yeah, maybe sixth, seventh grade of junior high. I knew I wanted to coach. I wanted to be able to help somebody else in that aspect of it, just because of all the men that was in my life. They were coaches and gym teachers, and they was able to help me, and I watched them when they got to teach different people different things, life skills, whether it's sports or anything. Then I grow to find out that actually those skills actually apply to real life and day-to-day work things, and it actually enhances it a little bit because you do have that background of socializing with different walks of life. So when you get into a work environment, you're doing the exact same thing. The person that copes the best and can relate to everybody normally should be able to advance a lot faster than anybody else. So um, I always knew, hung around Coach Gill when I was up in Nebraska, Darlington, Tony Samuels. I was always in their room looking through their papers and looking at their little recruiting films and things like that. And how you know he's a good player? He's not a good player. I'm just that guy in there. He's not a good player. Then I could tell you a story about Turner Gill. He said, "You think you could pick a player?" He's all right. Look at this guy. What do you think? Actually, he's all right. He said, no, 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 no. Threw the tape away. Bam. Look at that guy. What do you think? Two different players, huh? And he was talking about LP, Lawrence Phillips. I was like,
Ooh.
oh, I was like, that's way different. He's saying, yeah, that's the difference. He said, and then he was just comparing the difference of the running styles and what they was looking for and things. I was like, I get that. That makes sense. Okay. And that, being able to talk to them guys. But the main thing I try to bring back is I knew the field I wanted to go in. I knew I wanted to be a coach. So when a coach is talking, I'm watching how they're presenting it to me, what they're not presenting to me. And when a guy doesn't get it, how do they handle it? And if they don't know something, how do they handle that? So in the same breath, I'm picking all that up when they don't think I am. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at their demeanors on the sideline. I'm looking at, all right, he's the head coach, but he doesn't act like the head coach. He's falling back. That guy acts more like the head coach. Or the D coordinator, he acts more like, okay, why is that? Like, and you try to, I don't sit there and ask and be nosy, but I was a player and I'm looking at all these guys and I'm going, I get it. Okay. And I'm just observing everybody and I'm taking it in. I'm still a player. I'm still doing my thing. Um, Especially when I got into professionals, I did the same thing. I sat there and watched different people. Dick LeBeau was probably, when I was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was great. He was like, he made sense to me. He made sense to me of how he taught. Because he told me, he was like, I think I played like, I did maybe 30 plays. And he came to me, I was dead tired. Like, they ran so many deep balls on me, and I was trying not to give up no deep balls. And I think I gave up 2. And on the last one, I just laid on the field. And he came to me, he was just like, he said, son, can't let him see you down. Can't let him see you down. And I'm going, coach, you know how many plays I ran? He said, okay. Like, it was excuse. Like, he's like, you still shouldn't be laying on the ground. So I was like, all right. It hit me. Without him just saying that, I was just like, I guess he's not gonna feel sorry for me. Okay. Get up and go. All right. And then after that happened, we went to the meeting room. He was like, you see how many good plays you had? You ruined it by laying on the ground.
Man. I can't say he's wrong.
Right. I know, but I didn't know that at the time. I was tired. I was like 30 plays. I said, out of all these grown men, professional athletes out here, I went from, I was happy to do it. That means I was moving up because all the DBs was getting hurt in training camp. So I went from taking no reps to, I was taking second team reps. I was taking second team dime. I was taking third team reps, third team dime, fourth team reps, fourth team dime. Wow. So I was like, nobody was surprised. I took them. I was like, I'm glad. And I was killing it. So I was just like, all right. And they just like, man, you keep sitting on these out routes, they're going to run a double move on you. I said, you got to beat me deep. That's all I kept saying. You're not catching this ball over here. And they sure enough ran that out and up. And I was just like, man. And I just laid there. I was just like, I'm tired. I was like, they was like, we got to get you some help. And, even though they put me down at the same time, they was like, yeah, we got to get you more help. You can't just take all those reps like that. So I was just like, it was a good thing. But at the same time, those was my learning experience, especially as a coach, and just to see how he handled it. Like, he didn't want my expectations to drop just because I was taking that many reps. He said, you should have that same high expectations of yourself to succeed. Run off the field. I don't care how tired you are. Jog off the field and pretend, compete, go back and compete. Then the coach will be like, did you just see that? That'd be more impressive than, we broke him though. That's the only thing they remember. So I get it. I get it. And all those things I just took in, and I take in now, just watching these coaches. When I first started in the CFL playing, most of the coaches that were coaching me at that point are either head coaches in the CFL or general managers or coordinators. They're all those coaches that I started with in Montreal. Most of them now are coordinators or general managers and things like that I know. And I've been watching all these guys coach from beginning, not like rookie coaches. I watched them. They was coaching me. I'm watching these guys coach at this point, and I'm going, you didn't say that to me, and I got to see them grow from where they came from to where they are now. And Chris Jones, he's an assistant now for the Cleveland Browns. He was a D coordinator when I was in Montreal. Then he became a head coach, general manager. Now he's with the Cleveland Browns, coaching with them as an assistant coach. And I'm just like, I watched this guy. I watched him they was in our meeting rooms, and I'm watching these guys game plan. I'm watching them put the game together stuff. And I'm going, all right. And I'm taking it. I'm a coach. I'm taking it all in, but I'm still playing. I'm like, all right, he didn't tell me this. I need to know this, but I'm telling myself like, no one told me this. So now as I'm coaching now, I say, what didn't people tell me? How can I make this play? And I break it down to my guys that way. When I'm coaching them, I try to break it down to, this is the play I expect you to make. If you don't hear me say anything to you, I ain't expect you to make that play. I'm like, that's a good play on them. They hit the hole. All right, make the tackle and get off the field. So when you hear me say something to you, you know that was the play you're supposed to make, not somebody else. Those are plays you're supposed to make. And I tell them that. I said, I'm going to treat everybody the same, but different, because your skill level compared to somebody else might be totally different. Your expectations from me to you is different. And I let them know. I'm saying, I didn't expect you to make that play. That's why I'm saying good job. That's the heart of it. I'm like, if you coming to me and talking to me about football, I said, you're gonna hear the good, you're gonna hear the bad. Just like Dick LeBeau told me. He said, hey, just I'm gonna tell you. And I do that with the guys, and I'd say, I expect him to make that play. I don't say nothing to him. He was like, Coach, you don't never say anything to me. I said, why was I? Were you supposed to make that play? He was like, yeah. I said, I thought you were supposed to make it too. So I'm not gonna say anything to you. He's like, you're supposed to make that play. Now, if you do something that's spectacular, and I'm like, hey, good job. That means you like, all right, you exceeded my expectations. Like, hey, all right, that was nice. That was something special. So the guys tend to bond to that, and they like, yeah, if you're gonna ask them, you better make sure you're ready for it. And I tell them, I was like, I'm gonna shoot it to you straight, because I'm telling you what I wanted people to tell me as a player. And I'm like, tell me how to make the play. I know I'm playing a cut to three, but all right, how am I supposed to make this play? How can I get my reads to make a play? And I've learned how to do it. And now I found a different way to help guys figure out where they can make their plays at and still have a sound defense.
So then at what point can we probably expect you to start getting some offers for some head coaching jobs? Or is that
That's
something you're even aspiring for right now?
I'm aspiring to be a general manager. I love to put a team together. I love to scout. I love to do that stuff and find talent. I love to see guys potential, and then I can project. All right, I love doing that type of stuff, and I would love to do that. But the sad reality is, I'm a defensive coach. Most defensive coaches, it takes a long time for them to promote to head coach and everything like that, because of the coordinator. Normally, most head coaches are coordinators, and that's what makes the money, and that's what everyone loves to see. I get it, but the mentality, the defensive mentality, is what everybody wants
Yeah.
from that head guy. So I get it. I understand the business. I would love to be in that role at some point in my life, whether it's sooner than later. I enjoy what I'm doing now, so I have no qualms about it. When it happens, it happens. It's going to be the right time when it does happen. So I'll wait my turn. I'm okay with it.
I'm sure it'll happen before too much longer. I mean, my gosh, as much time as you spent with that league, the things you've done for that league, what you're doing now for the league. I mean, come on, you've got to graduate to that spot at some point. So you're
But
on the right track.
but it's different. That's the it's to the point where I see it. I see coaching differently than old school, I guess. Old school might have done it a certain way. They have computers now. They do it a different way. And I'm going, football's not that hard. Like, you can only know but so much. It's not hard. It's getting the guys to know what they need to know and to perform at a high level every single snap. I I look at it as too simple. And maybe that could be a downfall for me, is I think of it that's as that simple. And when I'm looking at coaching, I'm sitting in the meeting room and we going over different plays, and especially as a DB coach, and when they're talking about the run and the aspect of it, I'm going, we done spent 2 hours and y'all still haven't figured out how we're gonna stop this run. And I'm going, I chime in. Normally I don't chime in. This time I did, if it takes too long, then I chime in. They was like, Barron, you're gonna have something smart to say. I'm going, no. This is a serious question. I'm like, well, why don't we just slant the end and then we have the wheel wrap and then it'd be just a gap exchange. Oh, we did that a long time ago, but yeah, we can always do that. So what do we still haven't found a solution. I'm like, why wouldn't you do that if that's what you've done in the past? I'm like, were you trying to find a new magic trick or something like that? It's just sometimes I think we outsmart ourselves, and maybe I'm dead wrong. But again, if I believe in something and I wholeheartedly believe in it and I work it that way, how can it be wrong? It's what I was believing, what I want to do. So it can't be wrong. If you're that coach and you believe in your system and what you want to do, and you do it the way you're supposed to do it, and everybody else can gravitate to it and buy into it, how can it be wrong? It can't be wrong because it's yours. It's what you're trying to put out there. So I believe in the way I coach and the way I do things. I mean, it's hard. I hate when coaches say other coaches are wrong when they do something, because how can you say that coach is wrong when that's what he believes he's doing? It may not work. It may be dysfunctional by the way it was presented, the way the player ran it. You don't know, because I wasn't in the classroom. You wasn't in the classroom when it was taught. So it's a sticky situation for me right now, because I'm fighting that as a player, as a guy that played at a good level of football, and I'm looking at these guys, I'm going, they don't look like athletes. When you could see it, you could tell when they really mess up, you like, it look like we don't have good athletes. I don't care what level you're playing at. When you look at it, you're going, that's not right. They don't look like they're athletes right now. And that's what I look for. I say, he's not comfortable. He's not sure of the defense. He's not sure of the offense. He's not comfortable. The player should be just as comfortable in his skin as he is running his plays. Yep. And if you don't see that, there's a hiccup somewhere, and we got to find the hiccup.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, all right, we'll transition now. We'll get into the present day. We will talk about your son, Barron Miles Jr. Now, look, everybody's going to love seeing that last name on the back of his jersey. Now, going into his recruitment process, how closely involved in it were you, and who or what was the factor that he said, all right, I'm going to carry on the legacy and go to Nebraska?
It was a no-brainer. It was a no choice. it was like this kid starting with his sophomore year, beginning of his sophomore year, he breaks his collarbone, second game of him starting varsity. I'm like, all right, he breaks his collarbone. The kid actually lined up. It was a no huddle. He caught the ball, fell. The kid fell on him. He got back up, lined up, and I watched it on film. It was crazy. He get lined up on film. He you can see him rub his shoulder, and look at it. The play's about to go. Then he tried to go down. Then he get back up. Then he rubbed his shoulder again, and then finally the ref blew the whistle, and then he went down on a knee. And I'm going, that was kind of gutsy that you was actually going to run the next play, but his bone was sticking out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the bone was sticking out. So that happened. And so we rehabbed that. He still was a small kid at that time. He was still a small kid now, but he was a small kid, really small then. And he broke his collarbone. And then I just happened to be coming home for a bye week that weekend. And he breaks his collarbone the week before. And I say, all right, I don't get to see him play. But he did that second game of his sophomore year. And then he's did surgery. He's rehabbing. He's trying to make it back for basketball because he loves basketball. So he's like, Dad, I got to make the basketball. I got to get ready for basketball. And I said, all right, we got to work then. And I'm in coach mode. And I'm like, all right, he's done with surgery. I'm like, all right, do leg lifts just to keep your body in shape and do different things without your arm. And so he finally gets back for that. And then he's in basketball practice. And he's like, my legs hurt, Dad. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, my groin hurt. Something wrong. I said, how you pull your groin? You just started playing basketball. I'm mad, being dad. I'm being honest. I'm dad. I'm like, dude, you gotta suck this up. You gotta come on, let's go. That's what you're gonna get. Being honest. And he's like, no, Dad, I'm telling you. So then they kind of he'll play every now and then not play, and then he sat out, and then I'm like, what in the world? And then that was a carryover from his freshman year because he did the same thing in his freshman year, triple jumping. His growing. And backstory, I can back up to that. He triple jumped 40. He went over 40 in triple jump as a freshman. And once he did that, he did it a couple more times. Then his growing hurt. His growing started hurt. So then we had to sit out. He missed all of that leading into his sophomore year. Oh. He missed summer, like 7-on-7s with the team and everything. He couldn't do it. And he just came out for practice and then had to earn his job. I said, you had to become a starter. I said, you got to go in there and show that you're better than him. So then he broke his collarbone. Then that didn't happen. So then he getting ready for next. He's like, Dad, I want to transfer. He's like, I need a change. I need to go somewhere else. So then that's when we transferred to Chandler High. And he went to Chandler High. Chandler High has been the top 10 in the nation for the last few years we've been in Arizona. So they was either 3, 4, 5, 7. I mean, they was in the top 10, top 15 easily in the country. And they normally they're number 1 in the state of Arizona. So I said, you know where you're going? He said, no, I need it. Let's go. And so he wanted to get on the basketball team. He would have had to sit out because he transferred within boundaries. And so he said, okay, I'll get ready for football. And then before that even happened, his groin kept hurting. And we said, we need to go get you checked out. And then the doc said, no, it's not his groin. He said, it might be this thing called FAI. And it's an impingement where you have your socket here, your hip socket, and then there's a bone that deforms, that grows. And then over the years, as you're running, it's tearing, I want to say your cartilage. I believe it's cartilage. I could be wrong. A lot of people tell me I'm wrong if they do. So he ended up he was tearing it each year. So it was like, I was like, yeah, this looked like it's about almost a 3-year period where, and I kept fighting with him. Like, come on, we gotta go run. We gotta go lift, do our legs. He's like, it hurt, Dad, it hurts. And he always tell me. So then, so a sophomore year, he didn't play football. And so then that winter, he said, it's a 6-month period. You may have to do both hips. So I'm going, dang. I said, I leave in May. That don't add up. Like, so he said, all right, let's get through the first one. So they said, all right, we gotta do a dye test to see if he has enough hip to shave down any of it. If they shave it down and he doesn't have enough hip, the socket, it can always slip out of the socket. So that's the danger. So he said we may not be able to even do it. So then we was worried about that test. We did it. He came back. He said, no, you're fine. You got enough. We should be fine. So I'm like, all right. So it's a 6-month period that we're going to have to do this first leg. And we go through surgery. He was like, this is what's going to happen. We're going to put his leg. We're going to paralyze him from the hip down, from the waist down. And we're going to pull his leg apart. They pulled his hip apart, shaved it down, and put it back together. I was like, are you kidding me? So we had to wait through surgery. And as now I can say it because he could run and he could do everything. But at the time, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he ever play football again. Like, I don't know if he'd play a sport just because of what they're doing. Like, they're actually pulling it apart and putting it back together. So I'm like, are you kidding me? And the funny part was we knew we had to do rehab, but you got to do rehab right away. Otherwise it stiffens up and everything gets jammed up and we got to move it. So I didn't know anything about what was going on. I just knew they was gonna take his hip apart, put it back, and we hoping it stays. And he come home, we got to start moving his leg. I think every 3 hours, every 4 hours, or something like that. I got to start rotating his legs for 5 minutes. I got to rotate his leg each direction.
Mm.
And so we did the leg. The hospital ride home was hilarious. Oh my goodness. Because they just, he couldn't really get in the wheelchair. He couldn't, like, we didn't know. We was like, it's all right, you're free to go. I'm like, what do you mean we're free to go? And I don't even know how we got home. I'm out of the hospital. We came down. Luckily, I knew I brought some blankets, put in the back. We laid all the seats down in the truck, and he had to lay down. We had to lay him in the truck, and I probably went maybe 10 miles an hour. I took back streets to get home. It was probably a good 45-minute ride home, and it took us that long. And we finally got to the house. I'm grabbing him from the back. I got his arm up. I was like, all right, come on, we can make it. And I'm holding him up, holding him up. We get right to, I didn't take him upstairs to his room. My room was on the downstairs floor. So I said, are you laying on my bed? And he said, Dad, I can't make it. I can't make it, Dad. And he just started falling. And I was like, the bed's right there, man. So I kind of like, I like lifted him and I just like laid him on the bed and he just laid there. He said, I'm done. I'm tired. I can't do anything else. So it was just hilarious just that part of it. And actually we filmed some of it. Cause I was like, this is going to be a great story. That was our motivation. This is going to be a great story when you do decide, when you start playing again and somebody get to see that. So that's when it started. I started rotating every 3 to 4 hours. I had to get up and I was like, we got to talk the doctor into doing the other leg sooner because I'm leaving. Like I got to go to work. I'm going to Canada and my wife can't do this, especially by herself. So we kept talking to him, He's like, let's see how he feels and with the rehab and everything and see how it's going with the first leg. And so I told him, I said, we're gonna get this ready for your season, for your football season, because he wanted to play that year, his junior year. So we're trying to get him back for that summer, and not knowing everything that's going into it and stuff like that. But I'm like, come on, man, we could do this. So every morning, as I'm turning his leg, I get him up the next morning. I get the little 5-pound weights. We doing arm curls. We doing chest rest. I mean, just to get his body moving and stuff like that, just to move again. Got the bands out. We pushing the bands, doing bench press. And I'm like, he in the backyard. We get to he loves basketball. So I sit him in the chair. He shoot his jump shots. And I'm like, we gotta be active, even though your leg is hurt. I take him to a gym. We found a gym. It was like late at night. And I say, I know we don't have a membership, but all I need is the bike for 10 minutes. Can we get on your bike and ride for 10 minutes? I don't have a bike at home. I said, we just need a stationary bike. He hurt his leg. And the guy said, nope, go ahead. Jump on there. You go ahead. And we just do the bike. And he said, whenever you want to come, just come. So we instead of just turning his leg, I still would turn his leg, but then we'll go do the bike. He'd turn his leg that way. And we just kept doing it. And then we talked to Dr. King and said, oh, he's feeling real strong. Okay, we could do the other leg. And so we did the other leg, went through the same process, and at least he could walk. He was back to walking again normal on his other leg. And it was, the process was scary, but at the same time, you sitting there looking at all of this going, wow, like he may be doing this just to walk again, not forget the sports, but just to be functionable, to move. And we told him, we said, don't worry about recruits. Don't worry about none of that. The object is for you to just get back on the field. So we try to get that out of his head, because that's what, kids nowadays is, I want to be a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. I want to be recruited. I want to be this. I'm like, dude, you may not get recruited. I said, you got to play first. So he came back that summer. We played, he started training just a little bit. He didn't do anything because he was still sore. We didn't know the side effects. So they was like, he found a guy that had the same problem he had, only did one hip though. And he said, "Oh, you're just starting." He's like, "You think you're good, but you're just starting." He said, "Just wait. And every time you do something, something flares up and it hurts." He's like, "Oh, it's just killing me, Dad." I was like, "Well, that's part of it." I said, "But we got to work through it." And so we talked to the coach at his transfer team in Chandler. We said, just for he could be a part of something, can he come and show up at practice? And, and he said, "Nope, I love it." That gave him the motivation to, buy back in and do all that. And so he walked out on the team, got his uniform on, he's out there. And then I ain't gonna get into the story, but it's a whole separate story on the other side. His hair brain position coach. "All right, Barron, let's go." And he's like, "What?" So him being part of football, when the coach say, "Let's go," you go. No
Yeah.
questions asked, you go. So he's like, he's going through the drills, doing the drills, and then he starts to fatigue. And so he pulls himself out. Coach said, "You can't pull yourself out. You just getting back." I mean, just reaming on him. And I'm going, nobody told this kid. I'm gone now. I'm in Canada. I'm getting this from my wife and stuff. And I'm like, I get it. Okay, I'm a coach. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm on both sides. I'm like, all right, if I'm a coach, yeah, I'm expecting him. But somebody should have said he just came off of surgery.
Yep.
He's just out here to get back, feel for being a part of a football team, being a part of something. And that story, I ain't going to get into that story after that. But no, he went through, he was sore. But the good thing about it was the stuff that he did do, he was like, "Dad, I felt good. I felt good." And then we went through different running stages, and he looked so bad running. I mean, it was like a giraffe, no, baby deer being born. And then to watch him as it progressed, and I'm like, all right, he never had strong legs from the first part, and now we're starting to build. So now that whole summer went over, and going into his senior year, that's when like it was almost like a setback. Like he was hurting. He's like, "I don't know what's going on. I'm in pain." I'm like, doctor said, "No, I can't clear him yet." So I'm going, "Are you kidding me? We senior year coming up. We gotta get ready to play. We gotta, all right." So he in the gym. Now he's lifting. He got his muscles. The girls are looking at him. He's like, "Dad, yeah, you see this?" And his chest pumping up. He's feeling good about himself. With the surgery also, he grew. Each time he did his leg, he grew. And his my nephew was like, "Uncle, maybe, he's been playing a sport every year round for his whole life." I said, "Maybe with him resting allowed him to grow." I said, "That makes sense." I said, "That, and that was Callahan. I mean, he's like, you might want to think about it." I was like, because he just started shooting up. I'm going, I started looking up to him. I'm like, "Man, you are." So he really he got excited. He was like, and he was like playing basketball. I said, "I don't know if you want to play basketball." I said, "Track, you might want to run track, but don't just run, don't jump." And he loves jumping. So I'm like, whatever. And the doctor still didn't clear him. We didn't clear him to play. And I'm sitting there going, all right, we got a 7-on-7 tournament coming up. And then I knew the guy that he played Little League with the quarterback. Quarterback is under him. And the quarterback happened to be the quarterback for his high school. So he just said, excuse me. We said, "Go to the doctor." He said, "Can he play in the 7-on-7 tournament?" He said, "All right, I'm gonna clear him for the 7-on, no contact. Just he could play. He feel anything, sit out, relax." Sit out. Oh my goodness. This dude, he played. He was like his first game. You saw he was like rusty, moving, and I'm going, okay, but he wasn't out of place. It was just like I was like, okay, he's ready to go. We haven't been doing drills. We haven't been doing it. I mean, this is just hasn't played since his sophomore year. He's just getting out there. And we played in a 7-on-7 tournament, it probably had to be maybe good 50, 60 teams. And we played all the way. We was one game from the championship.
Oh no.
We was one game from the championship, and nobody expected us to do anything. We crushed everybody. We was undefeated. If you seen our team, you wouldn't think we was nothing. I coached the defense, and the quarterback's dad did the offense, and we ran with it. I mean, we had no practices. We didn't practice. We didn't do anything. I said, we're going to play man to man, and I'll talk to the safeties. Just cover your guy and let's go. And when we should have won the game before final game before the championship. We should have won it, but my corner got hurt. My slot receiver got hurt. And Barron started getting sore. Now, we started at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
It's 9 o'clock at night.
Oh my God.
That's how long we played. It's 9 o'clock at night, and this is his first time doing anything. So he's like, Dad, I'm sore. I can't play defense, because I had him playing corner and I had him playing offense too. And so I'm like, you can't go? He's like, I said, they got a pretty good receiver. I said, it'd be nice for you to guard him. He's like, I go one time. Then they tried him, and then he broke it up. And then he's like, I can't do it, Dad. I can't. I said, all right, no. And then I think it was overtime, and we lost in overtime to that team. But if we'd have won, we didn't have nobody to play in the final anyway. We didn't have no people to play in the final. So we did that, and he was tore up for probably about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks. Like we had to go back to just rehab, icing and everything, because he was just sore, because he hasn't been doing anything, movements and things like that. So that calmed down. And then it was like, we was 2 weeks out from doing another 7-on-7 tournament. So I said, are you game for it? He said, I'm back. I'm ready to go. So it was just a circle of life, like get sore, all right, recover, get sore again. So then he came back and we played. The kids just was like tired after that. I mean, we still dominated the games. Like I ain't never seen a 7-on-7. We was down 21-0. We came back and won. Yeah,
That's not easy to do. Not in 7-on-7.
Not in 7-on-7. I mean, we was down 21-0, and everybody was laughing at it. It was like, we knew y'all was gonna get blown out. And said, all right, be careful. Then all of a sudden we came back and we won it. I mean, we just started shutting them out on D, and I was just like, all right, we good. And then we got into the playoffs, and we were just out of gas. We was just like, we're ready to go home. Let's go home. And so that was our last 7-on-7 game. And then he got sore after that. And then we started building his strength up. Still, we're not doing footwork. We're doing conditioning only for rehab, though. It's not conditioning. It's just rehab conditioning. It's not drills. It's not drills for football. It's not drills to get better. It's just rehab drills. And I'm going, we got to start moving. I said, your training camp starts pretty soon. And he's like, Dad, I ain't even clear to play yet. So we'll see. And probably 2 days before training camp started, Doc cleared him to play. So that was his senior year, going into his senior year. So he did training camp. He got better as he started going. And I'm like, his first scrimmage, live scrimmage, it was awful. I was just like, I saw it because they film it and I get to see it. I'm like, dude, what was you doing? He's like, that it was tackle. I said they threw me a screen. He just dropped it. I'm going, I mean, it was awful. But I said, all right, we're gonna work from it. I said, you're gonna always get better. I said, always get better. Always, you're looking to get better each time. I said, it doesn't matter. I said, you go against the starters. Say, you get any reps? He said, no, I don't get any reps. It's position coaches. Yeah, it's something special.
I've been there.
Yeah, but I was never the guy to say you need to play my son.
Yeah.
If he's good enough to play, all right, he plays. If he's not, he doesn't play.
Exactly.
You're never gonna hear me complain about that. But I said, you're not taking any reps? He said, no. I said, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'll do nothing. I said, well, you go tell him you want to play, you want to go on the scout team. Do the scout team. I said, and you kill every one of their starting DBs. I said, you destroy every single one of them and you watch what happens. And he went to work. He went to work. By mid-season, they pulled him up and they started playing. But he didn't play. They put him in like 1-2 plays, and then they gave him a play. They gave him a screen. He took it to the house. He'd do something else. He'd take about 50, 60 yards. So I'm going, every time he touches the ball, something good happens. All right, that's good. I didn't need him to start. I just needed him to show that he could play and he could feel comfortable by himself and just play. And he did punt returns and he took it to the house. I'm going, got another one. I think he took it to the one. I'm going, all right, you can see it. Like, all right. But again, he's doing all of this. No training, just weight training. He's not really lifting on his legs. He's just doing rehab for his legs. But I said, we got to get through the season. And then we can start weight training on his legs and we start running. I said, then watch how fast he's going to be. Watch how more explosive he's going to be. And so that's what we did. We got through the season and he did what he did. He did have some good plays. So I said, okay, I'm going to put these plays together. And then I sent it to every coach I knew of in a position role as a D1 school, D2 school, D3 school. I sent him his high school practice clips, the little game clips. I sent it to him. Didn't really get any responses, but I prefaced it, the email with, hey, if he's not good, you know me. Just say, Barron, he's not going to fit our system. I mean, I'm not like, I know he hasn't that much film. I get it. So you just tell me. I didn't get any returns. I'm talking about these are guys that I know, like that coach me. And
not getting a response is worse than anything.
Right. And then Kenny was like, hey, I like him. Kenny Wilhite said, I like him. Let me see. And then, he was like, he seemed tall. He runs tall. And I was like, no, he's 6 foot. And I said, well, 5'11". I said, but 6 foot. The doctor said he's 6 foot. So I'm like, all right. Then Kenny said, okay, let me see. And then Kenny talked to the coaches and showed him to the receiver coach. And then he said, no, we'll offer him a walk-on. And then I was like, all right. I said, that's our choice. And then Chicago, I forgot the name of the team. It's a school in Chicago. It's a D3 school. He recruited him, Coach Cat, Lake Forest in Chicago, right outside of Chicago. Recruited him, did a great job. I'm talking about like did a great job. And Zion went out there, my son went out there and took a trip. I said, you want to see what recruiting is? I said, go. I said, you're going to know when you get on campus if you like it and you don't like it or whatever. I said, it's not going to be Nebraska. I said, I can tell you that now. I said, it's not going to be Nebraska, so don't have that expectation. I said, you got to go and say, all right, I want to play football. Is this where I want to spend my next 4 years and, and be with Brown, the coaches and stuff like that. So, no, they treated him well. He went out there, visited, came back, and he's like, I know me, Dad. Right now, I need to be somewhere else to grow. I said, all right, enough said. And so I said, all right, I'm going to Nebraska and I don't want to hear nothing about it. I said, we training. And then when it all, after that, it was history. It was just like, let's train. Let's go run. Let's go get our body right. And he left to go up there in June, I think. June or July, whatever it was when they got the first time. That was him just coming off from January, middle of January to that point. That was the only time he actually got to run and do footwork drills.
Wow.
after 2.5 years. So
So
he's still, his upside is high if he continues to take advantage of it. He just has his growth is still coming. That's what I keep saying to everybody. I just need him to do what he's supposed to do and just watch. That's all I gotta say.
so has he said recently like how the footwork and everything's been coming along, how everything as far as the legs and hips have been feeling? Say everything's been doing good?
No, he's been doing good. I get to watch sometimes. He'll send me some stuff, or I'll look at it with him, and I say, "Why didn't you just cut?" I couldn't, Dad. I couldn't stop. He's not used to it yet. That's
Yep.
and because when I'm looking at it with him, I can see I'm going, "Hey, why didn't you do this, Dad?" It just didn't work. I couldn't do it. My body wouldn't work. And so we went through that period, and then I'm like, that those periods are over with now, right? I said, I can't do that no more. I can't jump, or I can't cut. I said, that's over with. I said, now it's time. If you want to play and you expect to play and make a mark for yourself, I said, you just got to do it. I said, you got to be over that. So he was like, no. He said, I am. I said, no, I don't think you get it. I said, all right, when you get in the room and it's a bunch of people in there, all these athletes, some bigger than you, some the same size, most of them bigger than you gotta say, can I dominate the room? I said, when you say that, then you won't have that problem of I can't, oh, it won't work. I said, because you're trying to dominate the room. I said, so dominate the room. He's like, all right, I get it. I said, no, you don't get it. I said, you played basketball the other day with the guys. He said, yeah, we were just messing around. I said, that's the whole point. Y'all messing around. I said, did you try to dunk? No. I said, like I said, when you dominate the room, that's when you won't have that problem of saying, I can't cut no more. I can't jump no more. I said, you could dunk. I said, you've been almost dunking as a freshman, sophomore. I said, so, and you wasn't as tall. I said, when you could jump, so go ahead and jump.
Yeah.
So that's the little hiccup is him just saying, I could, I said, just do it. Stop being afraid that if you do it and you miss, you think it's a failure. That's not a failure. No, you're never going to fail if you never try. I said, but if you're always trying and you fail a couple of times, you're going to succeed a whole lot more. And so that's what we're working with him on right now. And that was his recruiting process, mentally trying to keep him sane enough and on a positive track, because his position coach almost killed him in high school. I can tell you that. Almost sunk him. So he's in a good place now, which I'm happy. And I'm looking for some good things from him. And I hope it works out that way.
Yeah, he's definitely in much better hands now. So,
Yeah.
all right, this is where I kind of wind it down, but this is where I end up turning it over to my guest. I want you to let everybody know where they can find you on any social media, any organizations or charities you may be involved in. This is your time on the platform to let people know what's going on and maybe some things you'd like to plug in the meantime. So, Barron, the stage is yours, my friend. Go right ahead.
That's a quick stage. I'm not a person that's out there. I mean, most of my media stuff is Twitter, and believe it or not, I don't even know my Twitter handle, my at handle, however you say it. My kids normally set it up, and I get on it and I do my thing. For the most part, I'm a quiet person. I keep to myself. Not too many people know too much about me or what I'm doing, because when I do it, I do it because I want to do it, not because I want everybody else to know. So yeah, my platform, my stage is I told you it's quick. I don't know. Yeah, I don't do too much. I'm not out there like that. I help people when I need to help it because I think they need help and I can lend a hand. And if I can help you, I'm there for you. So I don't even know my Twitter. You might know my Twitter better than me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. This will be a first time on the show. I
Hey.
never, ever get on my phone during the show. But you know what? Let's look up what your Twitter name is. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we've been texting back and forth, so
Yeah,
I
you never
haven't
got.
even been messaging you on Twitter. So
Yeah,
I
that
think
makes.
yeah, you might have an easier time looking it up than I would.
I think I'm looking it up. I gotta put my glasses.
I love this. This is exactly what
Yeah,
people want to see. This is what they want to hear. I'm not kidding.
it's at Barron Miles 09. At Barron
Wow.
Miles 09. Twitter.
As something as simple as that even. And
Yeah,
neither of us could remember it.
I don't think I ever remembered to tell you the truth. I think my wife set it up. My kids make sure I'm doing saying the right things on there, and then every now and then I get a hold of it and Dad, stop, just stop. I was like, it's my Twitter account. I could do what I want on it. So
That's right.
it's good.
All right, I'll close it on out. Everybody, you heard it here first. Barron's told you where you can find the guy. He's a little private. So if he gets back to you on Twitter, there's a reason. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll be able to find this anywhere on YouTube under my name, Brian Knutson, of course. You can find me on Facebook under the same thing, Brian Knutson, and on Twitter at Knutson_Brian. You'll be able to find the audio for this anywhere you can stream podcasts, and you'll be able to find the Scarlet and the Cream Husker podcast on Twitter as well at the Scarlet Cream. And we do have a business page on Facebook, I suppose, that I'm just recently finding most about. So it's nice to have a hold of that now and take care of that. And Barron, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. We're going to have you, Abdul, on at the same
Okay.
time and
That'd be
see
great.
how that goes. But for today, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to have you on again soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for that.
you.
Black shirts.
All the way.